My name is Chris, aka The Jackal, and I am the coolest son of a gun this side of the Halloween shindig. And I'll tell you something, I'm very hot. I think I'm steaming my glasses up. I don't know how long I can continue like this, but we're going to keep going. So, as you can see, I've got some paws. You know what's good about these paws? You can get your fingers out. Look at that. Whoa. Oh no, that means something else, doesn't it? Ignore that. Apologies, obviously, because I'm such a special person. Okay, so, what am I doing other than making myself extremely hot in a latex werewolf hat? Well, today we're going to be doing a Flosstube. I'm going to be showing you some little metal bauble thing I'm going to put on the pictures. And I'm going to show you where I'm taking cross stitch for myself. I've got like merging my drawings in with my... hang on, let me take this off. I'm steaming up my glasses. I'm that hot. Not just temperature, because I'm a very sexy boy. Oh man, I'm really hot. Anyway, hello. Here, literally got wolf hair on me everywhere. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm still cool. It's alright. Okay, so we're going to be showing some things I've picked up, like little metal things that are going to hang off of my pictures. Show you how I'm going to take my my take on cross stitch. I'm merging my drawings with my cross stitch and taking that and creating a new baby, if you like. And yes, and I'm going to show you a fabric picture, which is more of a test picture, just to sort of start getting somewhere. I'm thinking about doing like fabric on canvas and stitching things together into it. And what else? On some drawings and some artwork. Okay, so there's cross stitch and artwork all involved. So what we're going to do, oh, I'm so excited, I've dropped my glasses. Jiminy Christmas. No, spooky Halloween. Alright, so I went to a place called Hobby. It's not as easy as I thought it would be with wolf hands, but we're going to do it anyway. Okay, so I got some little iron-on things that are completely unrelated, but I just like them. This one here, this is, it's called Beach, I think, and I like that. Reminds me of Miami, if I'd ever been to Miami. Then this one is number race start 26 or something like that. I like that. Think about sticking them on a jacket, but that's not cross stitch related. Anyway, we're going to move on. We're going to go straight to the shiny bits. Now, I've taken one of the shiny bits off of this. Look at those. Now, I think it's an Alice in Wonderland style thing, because one of them is like a pocket watch, which I've broken off, which I've put onto one of my pictures, which we'll have a look at in a minute. But we've got a teacup. Oh, should I point with the claw? Got a teacup. Grrr. You see, like a wolf man. We've got a crown. We've got a nice little pussycat face, and we've got a mischievous bunny, and oh, and a key, of course. Never forget the key. What's cool about the key? Look at that. Look at the design of that. Can you see that? There we go. Isn't that lovely? I like those. And you know, you can just hang them on your drawings, and I recommend that to you, like if you're going to do it, because I've seen other people do it, and I thought, you know what, it's a bloody good idea. And all the best ideas are stolen ideas, so I'm stealing that one. Alright, so let's keep going. Next one is a wizard's one. Look at that. Now, I know what you're probably saying is, oh my god, Chris, how incredibly creative of you, and you would be right. So I'm thinking about creating like a little scene there with the wizard and the dragon, like, you know, sort of like a, you know, like interacting with each other, maybe doing like a fireball, like in cross stitch, being shot, or some kind of magic from the wizard, and then the flames coming out of his mouth, like, you know, with cross stitch. And I don't know what to do with the hat. Yeah, and then the castle, we can put that in the background. I thought that would make a nice tiny little petite little cross stitch. Next one, sent to me by Mortuary Stitches. If you haven't seen Mortuary Stitches, you should, because Mortuary Stitches is the business. She sent, well, here's the bag. Look at that, isn't that nice? Stars and moon, orange. It's almost, this is actually harder than one puppy would desire. Right now, hang on. Get it ready. Okay, so there we are, there's one. It's kind of like a motorcycling kind of bauble thing. I like that, that's good. We've got, hang on. Oh, this is really, claws, please. I understand now why it's so difficult to be a werewolf. can you even see that? Probably not. Gold scissors. Maybe I should take one of these gloves off. No, I must commit to the cause. Oh, damn. Alright, not that one. Skeleton. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Hang on, my dears. Hang on. Let's see what we can do. There we go. I've made no difference for all that effort, but skeleton. There's little silver stars. There's a little key. I'm going to have to take one of these gloves off. Hang on. Okay. You probably, if you're even still watching this, you'd be like, what an idiot. There we are. It's a skeleton, skull and bones thing. That's nice, isn't it? That's nice. My mum Mortuary Stitches sent that to us, and that was lovely. There's a proper look at the scissors. Proper look at a skeleton. There's 4 little stars, which is nice. I don't know how to show that. Like an animal skull. And what I think is quite nice, it's a nice little skull there. So they're quite cool, aren't they? So that's my tick bits. That's my little thing. It's all shown. The policeman will be very unimpressed. There we go. Alright, next thing. What should we got? Right, so I started doing... well, I can put my paw back on now, can't I? There we are, Captain Planet. No, that's a ring. So here's the picture that I started the idea of. I know I spelled senior wrong, but that's okay, doesn't matter. But it's called New Money Yo, Senior Dave's Palace. Basically what it's about, there is fabric, I'll be showing it in a minute. What it's about is about how we're living in a new period of time now where the historically rich no longer have the full monopoly over the world's money. And now it's new money is kind of like become a new thing, of course, and it's kind of like growing out there and it's going crazy, and it's about possibilities, saying we can all have a future and make our own future now because the way life is. Now anyway, that wasn't very poetic because I hadn't really thought about it in advance and like what to say. But here's like the basic thing. Now it doesn't look like much at the moment, but it's going to have like lots of little extra bits. Like I'm going to cross stitch little pieces and then cut lots and stick it to it, you know, like on backing. It's going to look lovely. But there we go. That's where the see that where my claw's pointing. Grrr. Grrr. No, stop that. This thing, that's the little stopwatch, but it's got this little thing on there, so I might have to cut that off with the pliers. But I did these little windows, and they're really cool. Little roof, this all in felt. Look at this nice fabric. I've done the animals. It's like a little dog and a little cat sort of thing. And this is Senior Dave with his diamond. I haven't finished him yet, but he's pretty funky. But it gave me, and doing this guy, just this guy, gave me an idea. And it made me go, do you know what, Chris? We could do something else with this. So I started to get some very hairy ideas. And I turned into a werewolf. No, that's not how the story goes. Oh, my project bag's in the way. Have I shown you that? I don't know if I've shown that one. Project bag. Darth Vader, very nice. Right, hang on a minute. So yeah, it took me to another dimension. Yeah, here we are. Now, I know that the square border around the picture has gone a bit funny, but don't worry about it because this is a test piece. And I did this without my glasses on, so I did need glasses in the end, regardless of how much I did protest. So there we are. So I've stitched like the little buttons on him, which didn't do very well. And then I did his mouth. And then I did around the doors. I did his laces. And I did his eyes. But I want to stitch in the windows, like with like yellow cross stitch in there, and maybe do like little bits of extra like definition with cross stitch. I'm not sure what to do yet, but I want to merge ooh. The good thing about having a muscular chest is you can use it as a shelf. Look at that, how convenient. So Yeah, so basically what I want to do is like just sort of add extra stuff to it, like cross-stitch pieces. And I just think that will look really funky monkey and probably blow the doors off of anybody who looks at it. So that's if somebody had doors, that was a part of their anatomy. I'm talking crap today. You may probably tell I've been on my own all day. Kay's not coming home today because she's going to London to do an event with her work stuff. So that meant that I'm on my own on Halloween. And yes, this is the time to go, oh, that's a shame, isn't it? But I'm alright. I'm just talking crap today, that's all. So there we are. So we've got the little devil here. I've done the cross stitches on his eyes, the dog there, which I haven't done his eyes yet. Haven't done his yet. But I just like the idea of doing drawing or painting or using ink on something and then cross stitching on top of that, and then perhaps maybe going towards some embroidery pieces. Maybe that would be really fun. So that's that. So that's really fun, isn't it? That's funky monkey. Alright, and these were like some of the cross stitch pieces. Like these are ideas for birds and animals that I'm gonna, what I'd do, and then like I'd do them on this, and then cut them out, and then stick them as a patch onto something else, and then do a border around them, and then out of a nice fabric, and then like stitch that into it nicely. And I think that would just look really fun, kind of like an eclectic kind of crazy mess. And I just like the idea of mixing all the fabrics techniques together and learning new stitches. I think that's cool. And so finally, to show, we've got some artwork that I'm doing. There we go. So yeah, there we go. So this is called Earth. It's a champ thing, or thang. And it's basically about how the whole world is seen by men. It's like how men can see all the conflicts and all the craziness. And maybe it's because I was brought up in as with a single parent, just my mum, and maybe it's because my dad was such a terrible role model that I have quite strong feelings about not liking certain masculine they're not really masculine, certain traits that men seem to pick up and use as default. Like here I've got things like, it goes like monster, animal, lover, envy, dick, ordered, motivated, intelligent, natural, arrogant, territorial, economic, destructive, and then the word world at the bottom. But basically it spells out male dominated world. And I just thought it was cool. It's a marginally political thing. It's more of a stab at terrible dads, and it's got conspiracy theories kind of put into it as a way of like how like men talk crap and stuff and make things up to give them a sense of control over the world, and that's what that was about. No, I thought that was a bit of fun. And which one should we do? We do this one. So there we go. It's good, isn't it? These claws, they cracked me up. I forgot I had Wooflet claws on. So yeah, so this one here, this is sheep in wolves' fluffy mittens. So it's basically, I'm going through a personal, like mental, not crisis, I'm like kind of cleaning out the closet, but in my brain, in like reforming myself. And this is basically about how I turned unthreatening things into threatening things, and allowed it to get me to build a wall between me and what I really want to be and who I want to be. And so yeah, that's really what that's about. And so sheep in wolves' fluffy mittens, sheep in wolves in sheep's clothing, but the other way around. And it's about like an interesting comment. I think it was, I don't know how the comment was precisely said, but it's by Albert Einstein, and he said that like one of the most important questions that for you as a person in the world is to define whether the world is a scary place or a happy place, or basically decide whether the world is attacking you or is friendly. So if I don't think I've said that right, but that's the gist of it. And that made me really think, because it made me realise I spent a lot of my life feeling that the whole world is against me, and spending a lot of time feeling like everything is wrong all the time and seeing it that way. And for the last few months I've started to see things the other way around, where I'm starting to feel like, well, maybe the way someone says something isn't an attack. What if I saw as everything was actually, everybody was trying to compliment me, or everything was positive? Well, not positive, because that's ridiculous, but like, you know, like that, to see that everything is not a war against me, or not everything is a conspiracy against me. And now that I've turned like, you know, I'm in my early 30s now, I think I'm 32 or something. You know, it's, yeah, you know, it's quite an interesting concept for me as a human being, to be like, maybe the world isn't against me, and maybe I need to stop being against myself as well. So, so there's that one. And anyway, and then finally, this one. There we go. Grr. So, yeah, this one. This one's a fun one. This one is about how, this picture is about me finding the moment of realising what happiness is for me. How to find and obtain happiness. And I use there's a lot of words in this piece, but the get good is a really important thing. It's often a thing that people say to someone aggressively in the gaming community on PC, you know, like computer gaming and stuff. And you say to somebody like who's not playing very well, you know, like, get good, you know, and you know, that's what your problem is you're a crap player, you know. But like, I took that meaning and I repurposed it into get good, as in that's a dare. It's like a cool saying that you get good at something, and then that helped me realise what happiness was, and how happiness is actually really hard to take away from you. You know, like if you get really good at being a good person, or you get really good at doing something that basically gives value to other people, that, you know, I feel like that fulfills the criteria that you need as a human being, that you're giving and then you're receiving, because, you know, people are saying, well done, you're doing a good job and all that business. And it's just about like, you know, if you want to truly be happy, learn a skill and get really good at something, and then share that with the world. And then just, you know, and make sure what you get good at is something that can help other people. If you put those two things together, I feel like you've worked out what your purpose is in life. So, you know, so work out what you're good at, and then work out a human need, and then put those things together, and then you've got this magical happy baby. So I think that's kind of what that's about. I did a little post on Instagram about that, and it's a bit of a dribble on, but I really enjoyed doing that, and I've really enjoyed doing all those sorts of things. Oh, here it is. To make myself feel better about myself and about my artwork. Ooh, that's my glasses case. I decided to frame a piece of my artwork. I don't know if the light is on it, but just stick it on the shelf just to start celebrate. It's just an old frame. It was just for the sake of putting it in a frame. Actually, should probably clean it, but just a way of saying to myself that I love what I do. Sometimes I don't treat myself with the respect that I should, and sometimes I can be really overly critical for no reason. And I'm actually like, I'm a really nice person, and I know I am, because I make a deal to be a good person. I feel it's important, because I thought, well, you know, my dad's a terrible person and I didn't want to be like him, so I decided to be a good person, and then look at me. I feel great, but I'm also a really bad person. Like, sometimes I can be really horrible about myself. Like, I mean, like, it's like a passion sometimes, you know, where like, I just, like, and I know it sounds so crazy, isn't it? But I feel so passionate about telling myself that I am no good and that I can't do anything. And you'd think that was my hobby. You know, you'd think that I got the gold medal in it, you know, at the Olympics. You really would believe that self-deprecation, you know, if you like, was my thing. And I'm really glad that I decided to stop being depressed. I went to the gym, you know, I got my body acting, because if you want to change your mind, you need to change your physiology, you've got to start moving. If you move your body, you change your mind. That is a scientific fact, and as somebody who has a degree in biosciences and forensics, I know that to be very true. And I did that, and I put that into action, and I changed my life. I changed my life by being active, and active in many ways, because then I started stimulating my mind. And when I got out of that depression, and, you know, which is quite a recent thing, you know, I really, sort of like a sigh of relief, you know, that it's just like, oh wow, I'm like a human being again. And so putting this thing in a frame is an extension to that, and so connecting it to the beginning of the conversation is that I'm making a statement by putting it in a frame, that I'm really good. You know, and I love myself for what I do. I love my company. I love my creativity, and I just can't. You know, I can't imagine life without me. Just can't imagine it. You know, it'd be a bit of a bummer if it wasn't me. So I'm very happy, and you know, and that makes me, by extension, then be really happy that all the shit things that happened to me, sorry, I swore then. All the things that have been really bad that have happened to me, that I would let them happen again and again and again if I could be this person still, because I just think that they built me into something good. You know, and I've proved I'm a good person time and time again to myself. When I was working at a care home, this is to me this is such a proud story. There was this lady, and she had a really bad cancer. She was very old, and the side of her body had kind of blown up with liquids and stuff, and I went into her room and I asked her, I said to her, do you want a cup of tea, and all this business, and you know, just being nice. And I had never met her before, and I was just talking to her, and she turns to me, she says, Chris, do you think that God's punishing me? And I said, I don't think that's in his thing. I don't think he'd be bothered about that, if, you know. And she said, because, you know, I've lived such a good life, I've had so many lovely things, and I feel really guilty about it because so many people suffered, and I've had a really nice life, and, you know, and I don't know if I've given enough back to the world. And so, you know, and I'm saying, I'm basically turning it around, you know, because, you know, she's going to die, like, you know, tomorrow thing, you know. You know, that was the reality of it. That's, you know, and I said to her, look, you know, I don't think you probably seeing it rose-tinted goggles, but you've probably done a lot of good that you don't realise, and you've brought up kids, you've helped grandkids, you've given your children a good chance in life, you've done all of this, and I told, and then she, you know, and I told her, you know, like, there's very little that you've, you know, in your life that you should really be ashamed of, you know, and basically the conversation went off anyway. But the point of the story is that, but at the end of it, she felt really, really good. And I said to her, look, you know, because she was very matter-of-fact about dying and stuff, she was very clear about it, she was fine, well, not fine, who's fine about it, I don't know, but like, she was, you know, she was at peace with it. And I said to her, look, when you know it's about to happen, just smile. Just smile and just take it in, and just remember that you did it right. You had a good life because you worked hard at it, and it turned out good. And you were lucky to have a good life, and you enjoyed it. Don't regret it, and don't carry it, you know, don't go out on a bad note after all that goodness. And anyway, from what I hear, she did smile when she went, and she went out on a good note. And to me, that long conversation with that lady called Margaret really turned my mind, and she gave me a gift on that day. She made me realise that I meant to make people feel good about themselves and their lives. I'm feeling quite emotional now. She was a great lady. Sorry. You know, and I did a good thing that day. I did a good thing. Changed her life. Right at the end. At the right time. Oh, I'm getting all emotional. Sorry, I shouldn't cry as a gentleman on camera. And I'm taking these gloves off because they're flipping hot. But yeah, she was such a beautiful woman, and she went out the right way, and that's how you know miracles happen. And it was beautiful. So on this lonely Halloween night where I'm making myself emotional, I would like to wish you the very best flipping week ahead of you, or and life. Have a great time. Remember to commit to yourself, take time for yourself, and love yourself, and appreciate your life, because there will come a point where you're going to have to go out with a smile, and that's great, because that's how you're going to do it. You know, you're going to live well, and you're going to end well. And that's the great thing. And so on that crazy, very depressing note, which is actually quite positive when you really think about it, I want you to stay sexy. I want you to strictly be sexy tonight or today or whenever you view this. And I want you to do a little dance into the kitchen. Enjoy yourself. Make yourself a nice beverage. You know, maybe put on a little bit of, I don't know, Kenny Rogers or whoever the band man's name is. You know, heck, whack on a bit of Bee Gees. You know, and enjoy yourself and have a great time. So you've been sexy. I've been sensationally hot and hairy. And make myself laugh. And yes, so until the next adventure, my stitching comrades, you take it easy. Bye-bye. Oh, bye-bye.